Hi, everybody. This is Lee, and I'm speaking on pipelines in general. But I do want to note that Energy Transfer Partners scoffed at the very idea that their pipeline would leak, specifically the Dakota Access Pipeline. Well, it has. It's leaked oil. 84 gallons of oil have leaked from the Dakota Access Pipeline. It's not fully operational, and so that's disturbing. The fact that it's already leaking and it's not yet fully operational means what will happen when even more gallons are attempted to be sent through that pipeline. So everything they said about their construction techniques and how silly it was to dispute their pipeline because it would never leak. Well, it's leaking. It has leaked, as pipelines do, and if it leaked once, it might leak again, as pipelines do. And so I'll post a link to that in the description, and so people can contemplate that what people said would never happen has happened, and that this is the reason that the people of Bismarck refused to have that pipeline through their water source because they knew that pipelines leak. And so this has been what the dispute is about. What people have been warning about has happened. And that's not the only energy transfer pipeline that's leaked recently. The Rover pipeline has been leaking as well. And so that's in Ohio. And so Energy Transfer is basically saying what will not happen, and yet we see that it does happen. So you can take their word for it if you want to, but the reality is that their pipelines have leaked, are leaking, and therefore likely will continue to leak, and that this is what people are fighting against. And so this is an article that I found at Lakota Law, that they have created a list of additional pipelines to watch, different actions, different camps that are opposing pipelines beyond the Dakota Access Pipeline. And so I think there's about 12. I'm going to go through it. And if there's a pipeline action near you that you want to continue to participate in education and action against fossil fuel contamination, that these are actions that you can join. And it's across the United States. And so Two Rivers Camps, that's in Texas, they're opposing the Trans-Pecos Pipeline. And I'll have that information linked in the description. And then Lancaster Stand. This is a camp. This is in Pennsylvania. They are opposing the Atlantic Sunrise Pipeline. Split Rock Sweetwater Prayer Camp. This is in New Jersey. And they are opposing the Pilgrim Pipeline and the AIM Pipeline. ET Rover Pipeline. This is Michigan. Nexus Pipeline, this is Ohio and Michigan. Klamath Falls, this is Oregon. They have a camp, and it's opposing the Pacific Connector Pipeline. Coalition of Woodland Nations, this is Virginia. They are opposing the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. Oak Flats, this is Arizona. They are opposing the Apache Stronghold Pipeline. Eunice Owen Camp, this is British Columbia, Canada. They are opposing the Pacific Trails Pipeline. Laxula Camp, this is British Columbia, Canada. They are opposing the Pacific Northwest LNG facility. Oklawa Camp, this is Oklahoma. They are opposing the Diamond Pipeline, which I've spoken on this channel several times, that it's going to run from Cushing, Oklahoma through Arkansas into Memphis, Tennessee, and it's crossing about 500 waterways and 11 watersheds that are used for drinking. Puyallup Tribe, they are opposing the Port of Tacoma in Washington. Cheyenne River Powwow Grounds, North Dakota, that's where that camp is. They are opposing the Keystone XL pipeline. It's not yet, I think it's not yet, it's still anticipated, and it's slated to become the next large pipeline fight. That it's, they're hosting, Cheyenne River Powwow Grounds are now hosting supporters of the movement under the approval of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribal Chairman Harold Frazier. And so these are the various pipeline fights that are occurring across the United States and then also in Canada, that Native nations are taking the lead, but they are welcoming supporters, that camps have already been set up at most, and that some are more loosely organized, and that you can make connections to people who are already working on the ground based on your geography, based on where you want to work on these issues. So I'll post all the links in the description, and you can find out more and decide where you want to fit into the whole movement. And that despite the propaganda of what people have been saying, that these pipelines do not leak and that they're perfectly safe to run through water, we see that they are leaking and that they have leaked and that they will leak. And so this is what the fight is about, to protect drinking water. That it's not actually an endless resource, that if it's contaminated, it's unusable for drinking and for many other uses. And so people want to keep the water as pure as possible, certainly oil free. So anyway, get in where you fit in. Good luck.